Waiting for it to load. Okay, we are live.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Julianne Hirsch, Chair of the Select Board. I would like to call this remote meeting of the Select Board Interview Subcommittee to order. This meeting is being conducted remotely in accordance with the provisions of the open meeting law. It will be streamed live and recorded. Before we begin, I will confirm the presence of myself and the other member of the Select Board Interview Subcommittee who are participating remotely. When I call your name, please state your name and confirm that you can hear and be heard. So, my name is Julianne Hirsch, not what it says. And so I'm sorry, everyone. And Laura, can you just state your name and say that you can hear and let us know that we can hear you?
Hi, I'm Laura Dighton, and I hear you, and hopefully you can hear me.
Excellent. Okay, so first on our agenda is, so this is all interviews for boards and committees. And our first interview is with Jack Carney, who is currently an alternate on the Zoning Board of Appeals, and he is applying for the permanent voting position. So can we possibly let him in?
Yeah.
Hi, Jack.
Can't hear you, you're muted.
I'm muted. Okay, how's that?
That's great.
Much better.
Good evening.
So, yeah, so unfortunately, I think your chair and co-chair are not around, but I feel like you probably have a lot of you've been serving how long now on the zoning board of appeals?
Almost a year.
Almost a year, but you had many years in Grafton.
About 17.
So you know your way around. So do you want to just tell us, I mean, I think it might be obvious, but just tell us why you want to move into the voting position?
So as you know, I was on the board in Grafton for 17 years. And I had joined at that point because I had been in town for a year and nobody was signing up for boards. And that's how I got involved. And I think I enjoyed serving the town. And when I moved to Northborough, we've been in Northborough about 13 years now. I had kids who were basically in the high school age. So for about 12 years, 3 kids, high school sports, college searches and everything. So with work, it was just, my time was sort of taken up. And now my last child is going to be a senior next year. And so last year I was starting to get a little bored and lonely as organized college sports had ended. And that's why I said, well, I guess I could join something new. But I enjoyed what I did on zoning. So that's why I put my application in last year to be on the zoning board. So now I've been on for a year. I think I've helped and contributed over the last year. And I'd like to move up from an alternate to a sitting member.
So it on your application, it says that you have some real estate experience, correct?
I've been a real estate salesman or broker for over 40 years. I got a contractor's unrestricted license. So my primary occupation was commercial property management. I do commercial brokerage on the side. I also do residential brokerage, mainly friends, family, customers, and clients that have dealt with me over the years who trust me and I trust them. So I do a couple residential deals a year, keeps me up on the current code, current law, but I prefer commercial.
Yeah, I was going to ask how, if you thought it helped in this position, and I guess it really does, huh?
A little bit. You have more of a background. I've dealt a lot of zoning issues over the year from my occupation. Deal with a lot of, it just basically, I don't want to say like a commercial side. You're always, everything's negotiated commercially. Residential is all sort of dictated by, Commonwealth law. But commercial, everything is, you have to look at everything and make a decision based upon, law, but also negotiation. And, on a zoning board, you're looking at the law that's on the books, but at the same point in time, the whole idea of the zoning board is to use that bylaw and stretch it a little bit. So you basically, if you use the book, you can do different things with the book. It allows you to help people, not to always have to enforce things literally.
Not to make life difficult. So I just have one question, then I'll turn it over to Laura. What do you think is going to be the biggest challenge to the zoning board in the coming years with the housing shortage and the state mandates?
Well, you have, the state mandate it doesn't change anything for Northborough. They were already, they've already been dealing with it over the years. There are, in Northborough, there hasn't been, so I've been on for a year. We haven't seen the 40B come before us. When I was in Grafton, basically that was when the 40B law started being massaged and used. And I've overseen a number of 40B applications and sat on a number of 40B permits. So at some point in the future, Northborough will be looking at something like that. I think we're over our 10% right now.
Right.
But at some point that will change.
Right. But we're working really hard to keep it at 10% and above. Which is great.
You need housing, but it needs to be done the right way.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Exactly. Laura, do you have any questions for Jack?
I think you took all the questions right out of my bag. So first of all, it's nice to see you today, and thank you for serving in all of your capacities to get you to this point. And thank you for using that experience to continue to serve Northborough. We really appreciate it. And yeah, I was also curious about, what you anticipate. Are there any other issues that you foresee as it relates to zoning? Even maybe it's outside of, the challenges from a housing perspective, but what do you see as the biggest issue from a zoning perspective facing our town?
So here's my opinion has always been the zoning board doesn't dictate the zoning. The zoning board looks at the zoning. I've never been like with the surplus land that was available. They asked the zoning board to weigh in, and to me, that's not our position to weigh in. My position is when somebody comes before us to look at the facts, look at what's in front of us, and make a decision. So I've always sort of taken a back seat on what should be in town, because I feel that's already setting a course in my mind of how to deal with something. So I'd rather look at the facts of something and the bylaws and then make a decision versus being the one charting the course and then having to make the decision on it. I feel that's an abuse of power.
I appreciate that very much. I hadn't really thought about it from that perspective, but I definitely can see where that frame of thought would come from. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So
it can get, you are the enforcer.
Well, you're sort of you're sort of the judge and jury. And if you've already made up your mind on something, and then they come before you, you're already predisposed to that opinion. And I guess early on, I just, I must have had a somebody on the board previously when I first joined who passed on some words and said, what we're here to do, not what, we don't make up our rules. We
Right.
look at the bylaw, we look at the laws, and that's where we make our decision.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So I'm going to ask a question because it's come up at several town meetings, and it's tricky because we've had a lot of discussion around use variance, and it's definitely one that's been tricky. And now that you've mentioned, the enforcement piece and the legal piece, like, what are your thoughts on the use variance for our town? And I'm not trying to ask you a hard question.
No. I have an opinion on this.
Okay.
In Grafton, the zoning board did not grant use variances. The power for a use variance was with the planning board, not the zoning board. And just recently, we had an applicant before us, and we started out on that application with the request for 1 special permit and 4 variances. And I really had trouble on this one, because what they were asking for, I couldn't justify in my head that there was a hardship of any sort. But as I thought about it, and we continued to a second meeting, and I thought about it, and with Laurie and Bill, and they had discussions, we realized that it wasn't really a special permit and 4 variances they needed. It was really just 1 use variance. And by changing, and it wasn't that, by changing that, we were able to say, oh yeah, it wasn't really the variance, it was a special permit. So we looked at the use instead of all this other stuff that we really couldn't come up with hardships for. But when we said, oh, and this was basically 1 family going to a 2 family, it made sense. You could give the special permit for the 2 family, but you couldn't justify a variance for hardship of any reason for the variances. So as we sat and talked about it, we were able to work through it and look at the bylaws and help this applicant get to where they wanted to be, but also by using the bylaw and what it tells us we can do, we were able to have a solid footing of where we were. So should we have the right to give use variances? I'm sort of, somebody has to do it. Whether it's a planning board or the zoning board, somebody has to look at all the facts, look at the bylaws, and make the decision. And that's up, I think that's up to the people to make that decision, not me.
I appreciate the thought you put into that answer. And it's seen at town meeting, it always generates a lot of conversation. So I appreciate your answer.
I don't think a lot of people really understand what they're voting on when they're asking that. Because whether it's zoning or planning, somebody's making that decision. And I think planning wants to work with whoever the applicant is to get to where they need to be. And the same as the zoning. We want to work with the applicant as much as we can within the guidelines of what we have available in front of us.
Well, Laura, do you have any more questions?
No, I'm sorry we don't have more time, but I've enjoyed getting to meet you, and I thank you for your interest in this next position.
Well, thank you. Thank you both for volunteering for the town too. It's not easy. It takes a lot of time. You get a lot of abuse.
Yeah, but it's fun, isn't it?
But somebody has to do it.
Yep. So Jack, do you have any questions for us?
No. I know you're supposed to ask questions, but
okay.
I've been through
so
the
you
process.
know the process. So tonight, Laura and I will discuss all the applicants, and then we make our recommendations to the full board, which hopefully might happen this Monday, and then the appointments are made. So, but you probably remember that from last time. So
yes,
yeah, okay. Well,
thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Nice to see you.
See you soon.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.
So, we're just waiting for Samir. I don't see that he has logged on yet. I don't know. I sent him a message hoping, just to remind him. We could sit, with our videos and mute until he gets on, or.
Hmm. Well, let us know if so we'll give him, 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay.
Let us know if if like Shane.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Angie, I have a quick question.
Of course. Yeah.
So for Samir's application, it looks like they're interested in cultural council, design review, historic district, municipal code, and zoning board of appeals. Am I reading that correctly?
Yep, that's correct. So I had asked him, to narrow it down to see, and he was interested. He's mostly interested in the zoning board.
Okay. Thanks for helping with that.
Yeah. So then he understands that the alternate position, hopefully Jack will move up to voting member, and then Samir would take Jack's spot as the alternate.
Mhm.
And then just to look, and while we're waiting, are there any boards which we have applicants for that we don't have vacancies available? Or are there vacancies available for all the people that have applied?
Yeah, all the people that applied, we were lucky to have vacancies for.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. Youth Commission, we had 4 applicants.
Yep.
And we only have 3 spots. I did talk to Jennifer. She's not going to be able to attend tonight. She's aware of that though, so hopefully there's something else she can volunteer for, or we'll see if anything opens up. But I told her I'd be in touch with her. So
Okay, good.
Does she want to be interviewed anyway, or?
she's on vacation, so she was trying so hard to come on tonight, but it just didn't work, which I fully understand. So I just reassured her that there'll be something else I'm sure she can help with. And then if there's openings, if she's in another committee and something opens up in youth commission, then of course we can interview her at that time. So I'm gonna check my email again. Oh, this might be him. Hold on one moment. Hi, is this Samir?
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very well. Very well.
I'm Angie, and then I'll have
Hello, Angie.
Julian and Laura introduce themselves. Thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome. My apologies for being a couple of minutes late.
No worries. We're glad you were able to make it. All right, I'll leave you in good hands.
So, hi, Samir. My name is Julianne Hirsch. I'm on the select board, and my friend Laura Zeiton is here. We're the select board interview committee. Do you want to do your full view, or you? Oh, there you are. Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out, this is a very unusual version of Zoom, so I'm just trying to figure out, I use it every day. I'm just trying to figure out which is the best way to do this. Okay, there you go.
So, Samir, first of all, thank you for applying for the alternate position on the Zoning Board of Appeals. Could you just tell us a little bit about why this particular board is of special interest to you?
Sure. I've been in various building projects for a long time. And I think I've always had an interest in how the town is progressing compared with the towns around it, right? So building zoning, improving the environment of the town, improving the way that the town looks and feels and operates with its people is something that has long been of interest. So that at the core is why I'm interested in the zoning board of appeals.
Could you just explain a little more when you said you're interested in how the town is progressing compared to towns around
Sure.
it?
So I've been pre-COVID. I'd been involved in the planning committee for quite a while, and I'd intended to apply for that. I've been coming to planning and zoning meetings for quite a while, and one of my interests is how how Northborough is progressing as a town environment, compared with the needs of its residents, and how it compares with towns around it, like Westborough, Southborough. Hudson is a prime example of a town that has completely reimagined itself over the last few years. And I had a number of conversations with the head of the zoning board and with the town engineers, and looked at the long-term strategic plans for the town, because I was actually interested in investing. Not only I live in Northborough, but investing in the town as from a business standpoint and buying. We actually talked at one point of my buying the building. I actually talked to the town about buying the building that's by the CVS that the town had leased out previously and has just taken repossession of. And I talked to the town about purchasing that building from the town. So zoning and the way that the town is planned and managed is something that has been of long-term interest to myself. I've been involved and personally managed multiple building projects over my career, nursing homes, private homes, including one of my own, and I own rental properties in a number of towns in Massachusetts. So, you know, and I've for a long time noticed the discrepancy between what the town, the services and facilities, and what the town is approving, versus how the town's demographic has changed and what the new demographic needs in terms of wants in terms not needs and wants in terms of services. And so the whole idea of how the town is approving zoning, how the town is encouraging new business and new services to come to the town, all of that has been a great interest to me for a while.
Mm-hmm. I think that you know, zoning is interpreting zoning laws,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand where, you know, you have great interest in that, but you might also want to get involved with any kind of economic development
Indeed.
things that
Indeed. And
hopefully will be doing.
yes, and so all I did right now was I wanted to get involved, and part of that is just, you know, meeting the people and understanding the processes. And so this was a position that was open that I have an interest in, and meet some of my skill sets as well, and my experience, as a way of looking at where I can best serve. Right? It may not be, you know, I'd like to do this, but it may not be the only thing I do over time. Right. So that's where my interest is in. If I'm going to live in Northborough, and Northborough's nature has changed from even in we moved here in 2009. Even in the last 15 odd years, the nature of and the demographics of Northborough has changed quite dramatically from when I arrived. And the services the town provides, or the town itself provides, have not necessarily changed in consequence of that. And even when I was looking at investing in businesses in Northborough, it occurred to me, I talked to a number of banks, I talked to the town leadership around us, you know, I talked to the town leadership of Hudson, of Westborough, to look at where would be a good spot to invest monies. And one of the things and I asked the same question: why would you come to Northborough? Right? Why would you spend money in Northborough? And the answer consistently came back from around people in when I talked to Worcester, I talked to government in Worcester, and I talked to banks in Worcester, and the general response came back: we don't. Right? And we will drive to Hudson from Worcester, we will drive to Westborough from Worcester, but we won't drive to Northborough to Worcester to spend our money. Right. And that told me something about where the town is and where planning is going on and where the thinking of the town is. I even remember, and I don't know whether this is helpful or not, I remember at the time talking to the planner, the chief planner in Northborough, and asked her at the time, it was a lady at the time, I asked her, you know, what is the intent for the town in the next 5 or 10 years or 20 years? What is our plan? What do we want to be like? Right? What is our intent? And she gave me some answers, and I said, okay, so what are we comparing ourselves? Do we want to be like Westborough? Do we want to be like Hudson? Do we want to be in Northborough? Do we want to be like Andover? What's our plan, right? Because we don't have to just sort of start a white sheet or a blank sheet of paper. We can say, Andover has done the sorts of things that we'd like to do. We should look at what Andover did successfully and then plan around that. And my example at the time was Hudson. I said, look at what Hudson has done, right? In the last 5 years, look at the way that Hudson has completely changed the way that it's seen as a town and the way that people view it. And her response to me was, so what has Hudson done? I said, you haven't visited? Right? You're the planner, right? Are you not comparing where we are with what other towns are like and saying, where do we want the town to be 5 years from now? And that struck me as, oh, there is a need for fresh blood and fresh thinking in some of these boards, which is why I'm applying. Right?
Yes, well, you've certainly given it a lot of thought.
Right.
Laura, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So as we're looking at this role, interpreting the bylaws is really important. Can you talk to us a little bit about your background and how that's going to help you interpret Northborough's bylaws?
Well, I have some background. My role has been in quality and regulatory for the last 30 years, and specifically medical device. And so as far as interpreting the law is concerned, it's essentially what I do on a day-to-day basis, not just in the and having owned a property in Northborough, having owned other rental properties around the state and in Connecticut, and being involved in building, in this case, nursing homes. The interpretation of zoning laws and how to use them. In fact, my latest permitting activity was in Chatham, where we own a property, where we had to get. We're currently doing renovations on a property in Chatham and working through their zoning board of appeals and going through that has been also an interesting exercise. So I've done this in multiple areas as a builder and as an investor. I'd love to be able to do it from the other side.
So have you served on a Northborough board before, or have you proposed any buildings?
On the town committee, not on building. On the schools committee, not on building.
You were on the school committee?
Yeah, specifically for my daughter's school, which was, she's in college now, so I can't remember the one. The one on not Z, the other one, the one that's just
Peasley, Proctor.
Yeah. Proctor.
Melican? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Melican. Sorry, it was Melican, right? She was a Melican and she was at the school close to it. And I served on their school board.
Got it. And then have you proposed any projects in Northborough, or have you applied?
Have I proposed any? Yes. I mean, I talked to as I said previously, I've talked to the town on a number of occasions about repurposing. I spoke to them about the building that's across from the river, the one that used to be, I can't remember who it was before, and I proposed converting that. I've worked with the town on purchasing the property that's behind the current fire station. I actually got fairly far into looking at purchasing the property that was the old Bank of America building. And as I said earlier, I talked to the town about potentially purchasing the building that is by the CVS, the building that the town owns, has leased out, and that has just come to the lease has just been returned, and so I looked at that as well. The challenge with Northborough as a town in terms of investment, I mean, I can talk about that quite a while, right? The challenge with the town in terms of investment opportunities is that the town's zoning right now and its approval of licenses doesn't seem to acknowledge the fact that there are other services the town needs that it doesn't currently qualify. First of all, lack of licensing, liquor licenses, right? It's really challenging to get liquor licensing in Northborough, which is why we don't have many restaurants compared with other towns. We don't have many high-end restaurants compared with other towns because of that. We have been reluctant to zone things like the services that are in the Wegman Plaza, right, into the town itself. There has been a push, from what I've seen, I've sat in many planning meetings, there's been a push to keep the town almost static in terms of its services. So somebody like myself, or as the demographic has increased, the demographics in North, I think we just crossed $100,000 average annual income per household in the town, right? And so the services that a family that has $100,000 worth of income or $120,000 worth of income have changed from what Northborough was providing 20 years ago. There's literally there's very few places in town where somebody who wants to go buy a high-end gift or have a nice lunch can go. Right? For a number of different reasons, alcohol, services, all those types of things. So where do they choose to go? Like I choose to go, I go to Hudson, I go to Westborough, right? Because I can't, Northborough could happily have a service a number of restaurants that would provide, lunches, a $20 sandwich. We don't have any, right? So those types of things, I'm keen to start influencing the town in how it manages, how the zoning board rules apply and how we're interpreting them in order to allow those types of services to be available in Northborough. We are renowned around the area, and I've heard this from multiple different people, including banks who are looking to invest into Northborough, as the town of pizza parlors and garages, which is probably not the image that a town that is attracting household incomes of 100,000 plus wants. Right? It wants to be close to a Westborough, I presume. Right? So there's my background. That's what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to start working with the town to influence the type of businesses, the types of zoning it's allowing, particularly in terms of in terms of business zoning. Right. One of the challenges with a town like Northborough is the majority of its tax income comes from homes, from property taxes. And the problem with property taxes, they're approximately net zero to the town. Any numbers that we take in from taxing homes get spent in those services that homes require. Most towns have money in excess from business taxes. Northborough does not have much in the way of business taxes.
Right.
Last time I talked to, so that's the sort of stuff, and that's because we're not attracting those businesses, right? And we're not attracting it because we're not zoning properly. Right? We're not allowing those businesses to open in our town, and being able to serve in a capacity which can help influence that outcome. Look at what Westborough is, a beautiful town, roughly equivalent to Northborough in terms of income per capita. It's a completely different town in terms of the services it provides. Right?
So, Samir, I have to be mindful of the time. We have other people to interview, but I do want to give you the opportunity, if you have any questions for us about the position or, the time it takes.
Well,
we're not on the Zoning Board of Appeals, but we might be able to answer.
Yeah. So in terms of zoning boards and these types of what are you actually looking for? Because there wasn't a
Job description.
a job description, right? So I don't know. Coming into this, I have no idea what you're actually looking for.
Well, I'll speak first, and then Laura can add. We're looking for people who are analytical, who look at the job, look at the applications, look at the laws, and can come to agreements with the board about a fair and good solution to the issues that come before them. How would you answer that, Laura?
I think you hit the nail on the head. For me, it's going to come down to really following the bylaws. The ZBA is there's a legal requirement for how those are interpreted, and it's important that the bylaws are adhered to. And if there's things in the bylaws that aren't a good fit, then those changes would either go to the select board or to the planning board, and then ultimately to the voters of town. So we really have to focus on what we've got right now, and we have to stick to that. And really, for me, it always comes down to the bylaws, and even for us on our boards and how we navigate our decisions, that's the heart of it. And I know that, you know, there's probably a lot more to it, but it's just looking at an application, figuring out if it's going to fit, and then, you know, validating those decisions. Does that make sense?
That does. I'm wondering how then does the ZBA influence the change in bylaws? Because things change over time, right? So bylaws that were effective 20 years ago aren't necessarily effective today. Yeah. And so how do does the board have any role in reinterpreting those or in influencing new zoning laws?
I think they can. So first of all, planning board is very aware of what's going on with zoning. I think that's safe to say. Yeah. And it's really planning that proposes our zoning changes because they have more of the, you know, the higher, you know, the bigger view of town. Zoning is, you know, people who have to interpret the bylaws so that we come to some good solutions for individual cases. And Laura, please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I would say the planning board, the master plan, which was voted on, you know, by the residents, kind of gives us the framework that we want to work and strive to. As a community, we're continuing to check boxes off to accomplish those goals that were outlined by the master plan, but it's not fast. One thing I'll definitely acknowledge is that change is a very slow process. And while I definitely understand your desires and the urgency, everything seems to take a lot longer than even I imagined when I got started in this process.
Yes, I'm sure you've experienced that. Well, yeah. So I would like to tell you that what happens after this is at the end of the meeting, Laura and I discuss the applicants and figure out, you know, how to move people forward. And then you will hear from probably Angie because no final decisions are made until we meet with the full select board, and hopefully that will be Monday.
Okay.
So we will get back to you. And
it was a pleasure meeting you.
Meet you. Thank you for being in Northborough.
Thank you.
Your good ideas.
Thank you. You have a great day.
Yes, we appreciate it.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
It's nice to meet you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Am I reading the time right?
Yeah,
Yes.
so Shane knows we're running a little behind, so I'll let him in now.
Okay. Okay, so this is now an application for Cultural Council.
Correct. Yeah,
do we have space for Cultural Council?
We do.
Yes.
Yes. So we have 3 vacancies and 2 applicants right now. So.
Oh, hi.
Hello. Sorry, I had myself on mute.
Hi.
Hi, Shane. How are you?
Hi, Shane.
Hi, good. How's everyone?
We're well. How are you? We're warm.
Yeah, it's warm.
Oh, that is true.
So Shane, did you've been to a couple of the meetings of the Cultural Council meetings?
I haven't been to any of the Cultural Council meetings. I'm a member of the Northborough Arts Council.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're on the board there.
Yes.
Okay. So generally we start this meeting by saying, so what's a particular interest to you? So, I'd be in your answer, if you could please tell us how you see the, why, how the Northborough Arts Council will, help and work with the Cultural Council.
Well, personally, like I got started with the Arts Council kind of through the Northborough Moms group on Facebook. I think Vic had posted about it and Suzanne was on board for it, and they're both coming off of the Cultural Council at the time. and it was just something I was interested in because my husband and I moved to Northborough in 2020. So it was really hard for us to kind of like get involved in the community initially when we were moving in. We're really like connected with our neighbors, but I wanted to find a way to be more connected with the town itself. My husband and I are both artists. I was always in musical theater growing up. Like I've always been very into the arts. So I've been very interested in that kind of stuff. Big into community. I have a big garden. I like to give all my neighbors stuff out of my garden. So I really was like, once I got involved with the Arts Council and we started working with the Cultural Council on so many things, I was like, there's definitely so many things that I would love to do with the Cultural Council, because it has a little bit bigger reach, and just all the things that I've learned through the Arts Council. I started running their website and their social media accounts. So I then learned how to do my own website and social media accounts because my husband and I own an LLC for our property, the Goodwin Farm. Not really doing a ton with it right now, but hoping to get a farm stand going in the next couple of years. And we hosted an event for the Arts Council in our barn. We did the Art of Giving event at our house. It was like an auction for art.
I attended that. It's a beautiful property, a
Yeah, that's
beautiful
my house.
barn.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, so that's me and my husband's house. And yeah, I just felt like it would be nice to kind of like spread my wings out of the Arts Council, get into the Cultural Council. I feel like there's a lot more I could be doing. The Arts Council has kind of like a smaller scope on a lot of things. We're working on the sculpture project right now for the town. So I've been doing a lot of like the behind the scenes kind of stuff for that. But I feel like I like to be crazy busy with things. I have two little kids. I want to do stuff all the time. I don't know.
Well, you know what? You can do some events for little kids too. There's a lot of them in town.
Yeah.
I have a couple staying with me right now. So, so did anyone explain to you that a lot of work is involved in the grants that the Cultural Council is responsible for? And then, of course, there's a lot of energy in that group with, Porch Fest and Open Studio, all of these events. It's, I think you sound like you're ready to jump
I
right
like
in.
being busy. I like that kind of stuff. I actually just started writing part-time. I'm a newsletter writer now. So like, writing's a strength of mine. I can do grant writing.
Oh, great. Great. So I'm going to turn it over to Laura and see if she has any questions.
Thank you. I think you did such a great job giving a thorough overview of everything. I love both the groups that you are, the Arts Council is a great one, and I think there's a lot of complementary work between them. So I'm excited that you're looking at ways to continue. The Cultural Council has so many great ideas, and I really didn't have any questions. I understand why you're interested in it. And thank you for applying. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like, fun thing to do. Get out there, do stuff.
They're a great group, and they've got a lot of energy, and they need manpower because there's so many great ideas, and
right.
It's such an important feature for a town. It almost really helps with our identity, I think, and the Cultural Council has really grown over the last many years and done some great things for us. So do you have any questions for us? I'm the liaison to the Cultural Council, so I might be able to answer some of the details.
I mean, Terry said that she was happy to like meet with me and talk about any of like the finer details of things. But I mean, I guess is there anything else that you need from me? Do you need me to send over any samples of work or kind of stuff like that? I don't know how formal we're getting.
I think you'll find a niche in that group, and I noticed that you, the social media, the website and all of that kind of thing, that's always so valuable to any group. But you'll you know, they just want enthusiastic people who appreciate arts and culture, and look forward to your ideas coming to the group.
Yeah, me too.
So can I tell you that tonight, after we interview everyone, Laura and I discuss the applicants, and then we, decide um, how to move people forward, and then the decision is not made until the full board votes on it. So we recommend or don't recommend, but it's the full board that makes the decision.
Yep.
So it was, if there's nothing else, I want to say thank you so much for
Thank
volunteering.
you.
Really look
Yeah,
forward
thank
to
you.
your
Thank you
your
for all
input.
you've done and continuing to serve, to do.
I try to
Thank
come
you.
to as many meetings as possible, but you meet very frequently. So, and I think it kind of goes in cycles,
Yeah, like Terry said, they were kind of taking the summer off, so it was,
well deserved.
yeah.
Well, very nice seeing you again.
Good to see you too.
Thank
Hope to
you.
see you around.
Shane. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so
Okay. Next up, we have Julie Peterson for Cultural Council.
and we are right on time. Wow,
I know.
that's a first.
I know. I'll let her in. 1 second here. Hi, Julie. How are you?
You're on mute.
That's weird. You guys must have it set to auto mute.
Oh yeah, when you come on, it's automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. There you go.
So hi, Julie. I'm Julianne, and this is Laura.
Hi, it's nice to see you.
I know. It's been a long time since Lincoln Street.
I know.
Oh, okay, old friends. So Julie, you're applying for Cultural Council, and have you been able to attend any of their meetings or speak to anybody on the board
Actually, I haven't been to any of their meetings, but the reason that I applied is that I ran into Jen Tolman and another member, and I can't remember her name, and they were both like, "You should join. It's so much fun. Come and do it." And they like really talked it up big. And we're good ambassadors. And I mean, this was probably 6 or so months ago, and it took me a few months to get around to applying. And then I think my application kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit. But yeah, so that's really word of mouth of how I heard about the vacancies and why I applied.
Uh-huh. Well, in your application, it says that you do some event planning, and
I do.
Cultural Council does some event planning. So
I know. I'm a marketing professional by day. I run marketing for a cybersecurity software company, and I do events. Actually, we have a big one in Vegas next week that I was just putting together the booth schedule. So yeah, so that is my background.
So, a big part of what Cultural Council does and what keeps them really busy, like in fall, winter, is the grant applications. Did someone explain that part to you?
I mean, I've just from what I've read, I see, I have heard, I think, they did tell me a little bit about it, but I'd love to hear more. And if you can tell me more about what the process is and how they decide on how to spend the money, that'd be great.
They get a chunk of money from the state, which they are supposed to disperse to artists who apply, and it might be like an art exhibit, it could be a program, it could be a program for school, it could be a program for senior center, it could be a little bit historical, and they have to decide with that certain amount of money how much to get, who they're going to give the money to, how much they're going to give, and then in the past sometimes they will do like a reception for the grantees at the end, which is always lovely to meet them. But it is, as you can probably understand, it's a lot of work because everyone, so is worthy of, and artists are, you know, it's nice to acknowledge them with a little bit of reimbursement. So that's a big part, but they have also been doing so many exciting things like Porch Fest, and we had open studios, which was very successful, and there's a lot of ideas in that group. But they need manpower too. So, but it's a group that is, you know, everybody picks what they're good at, and they get it done, and it's pretty amazing. Anyway, I talk too much. I will turn it over to Laura if she has any
No,
reconnection or.
It'll be nice to take some of your energy and ideas and put them for the whole town to enjoy. So thank you very much for applying for this. And I think having the background that you do is going to really lend itself nicely to the group. And they are a very friendly and creative group. Is there anything in particular that you're really excited about that the Cultural Council does?
You know, I mean, you see all the programs, right? And they're small. Some of them are for kids, some of them are for adults. You know, again, Porch Fest is like a super fun community-wide involvement. And I am like, I have an alter ego as like kind of a fiction writer wannabe, and you know, I've been involved in the arts as well. And so it's just something that I feel passionate about and would love to just get involved in and you know more about.
Yeah, I love what the committee brings for our town. It highlights art and it makes it prettier to see. And so I think that anyway, so thank you for your interest in supporting them and working with them.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the murals that.
Yeah, I know. I was reading a little bit about that. I saw that on the list of projects.
Well, if I don't know if you've noticed the one at the splash pad that went up so quickly, the artist was so fast, and it adds so much to that beautiful area already.
Yeah. I know I haven't seen it, but I read about it. I don't know if it was like a local news article or if I had just, you know, where I read about it, but I did you know, see that. So yeah, exciting.
Were you ever able to attend the, you know, when they had the doors at
I didn't. Yeah, no, I didn't.
That was a lot of fun too, and
yeah.
They just have, you know, great ideas, and they will welcome great ideas. So it's I think you will really enjoy it.
Great. How many people are on the committee, and if it's full, and how many? Because I know there's a number of vacancies.
Yes, there's a number of vacancies, and it's an interesting committee because a lot of the rules are dictated by the state.
Right.
For example, you know, after 6 years, I'm not sure if you can apply for another 3 years, but there's term limits which other boards don't have.
Right. I think Janet said it was 3 years, and then you could apply for 3 additional.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, you do, and you can only do a max of 6 years. And right now we have 3 vacancies, and so 2 applicants. So that's good. So and trying to see how many total. Okay. So the total of 11 members.
Yeah, so it's a big group.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you know, with some of the projects, it takes a lot of people to get these things done.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So you know Suzanne, and when she was on, there was the big festival at the town common, and that was putting up tents, taking down tents. It takes a lot.
Yeah. Right. Everybody pitches in where they're needed.
So in terms of schedule, I think they kind of go by what fits people's calendars and how often they need to meet. Angie, there's no set schedule for them on the website, I don't think, right?
Right. I think it depends on what events they have going on. And yeah, like the summer, they're taking summer off. So yeah, it's kind of as needed. And I don't know if when fall starts, if they'll kind of have more of a schedule, but Terry can definitely talk to you about that. Terry's the chair of the committee, and
Right.
Mhm. And what did you say was your artistic outlet?
It's fiction writing. So yeah, just aspiring. So I've done an MFA program, so I just have to finish. That's kind of my only thing.
Oh, that's
But yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. It's hard with sometimes it's hard with schedules and stuff to kind of find a big chunk of time to devote to writing. But and I do it every day in my job, but slightly different kind of, it's more marketing writing. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's kind of, and of course I'm an admirer of many different medium of arts. So yeah,
I'm sorry my dog cut us off before and I completely lost my train of thought,
that's okay.
but yeah, no, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. I sometimes listen to, when the famous authors are interviewed and they say that they have to, just
Yeah,
say from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. every
yeah.
day, no
So
matter.
that it's right. It's about it's just about habit building and making up the time. And yep, definitely,
Mhm. And that
for
was
sure.
your coursework in your MFA program was the.
Yeah, so I did an MFA program that focuses, it's an unusual program in that it focuses only on novel revision. So you have to have a full draft of a novel to get in, and then you spend a year plus revising it. And there's a lot of different components that go to that. It goes to outside readers. You meet with agents and publishers and things like that. So so I've gone through that, and then the pandemic hit, and that kind of turned everything upside down. So I think so that's kind of where I've been you know with my personal writing.
Mhm. Well, sometimes it takes many years, right?
Unfortunately, this is the truth.
Mhm.
It does.
You
It's
wouldn't
not an
be the
easy
first
process. So
author to,
I know.
uh,
Well, aspiring.
yeah.
So yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Julie, I looked at the
Okay,
schedule.
so
It
do
looks
you
like
have
they,
any?
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Julia. I just really, I looked back at the cultural council schedules of meeting, and they definitely meet once a month. It looks like sometimes twice a month, and there's been a few months where they've met like 3 times, but it's definitely at
Okay.
least once a month.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you for that.
Yeah.
So do you have any other questions for us?
No, I mean, I just yeah, I mean, I guess, it's probably hard to say like what the commitment is because Terry's not here, but I don't know if you have a sense of how much time, but I guess, when I had talked to Jen, she was like, people kind of put in a different amount of time depending on what their schedules are, and she kind of made it sound very, very flexible. So I'm just wondering if you have an expectation of how many hours you think somebody would put in a month, or is it really event dependent?
I think it's event dependent and it's really dependent on your schedule and what you can offer.
Okay.
It's
And then for the grants, do you have like an annual deadline, or is it like a rolling submission thing for
there's a
grants?
deadline. There's a
Okay.
deadline. Yeah.
Okay. So then
So
that process,
yeah, that's kind of what they concentrate on for a couple of months and then go into like the spring activities and stuff.
right? Okay.
Yeah. Well, so did I mention what happens after this?
No, yeah,
Oh,
tell me the
okay.
process.
Because I've mentioned it a few times. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but
That's okay.
so at the end of this of interviewing everyone, Laura and I discuss the applicants and decide how to move things forward, and then nothing is fully decided until the applications come before the full board.
Okay.
And that will be Monday, I'm pretty sure, right, Angie?
Yeah, it's on the agenda for Monday.
That's great. Do you have more applicants than spots at this point?
No,
Okay. Well, I
no,
hope I
but this
haven't.
is great. This is
Yeah.
great. The Cultural Council has recruited a lot of people, and so it's going to be fun.
Yeah. No, I've been in Northborough for a long time. I've gosh, I mean, I can't believe it's been like 7 or 8 years, but I was on the Northborough, the Lincoln Street Building Committee,
Oh yeah.
and I was really involved in that. And and that ended up being a lot more work than I had ever anticipated. I thought, oh, it's going to be a year of sitting at these fun meetings, and it ended up being like doing a lot of community outreach and going to like every school's fun fair and doing like, presentations and stuff. So after that, I took a break of a couple of years, and I was thinking like around town meeting this year. I was like, gosh, I really need to get kind of back involved in the town, because I've lived here for a long time and I've done a lot in the community before, and so it's just kind of a piece that's been missing. So I'm excited to hopefully get on this committee and do some work for the community.
Yeah, great. I mean, it's volunteers that make the town special, right?
Yeah, I like to volunteer. I'm an over volunteer.
Great.
So,
I can
but I'm
vouch
not
for
doing
that.
anything. I'm not doing anything at the moment. So that's like the big hole. I'm like, I need to volunteer for a good cause.
Good.
So,
Well, thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
yeah, thank you both.
We'll
And
see you
Angie for
around
setting this
town.
up.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
hopefully that'd be great. Thanks so much
Yeah.
for your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
See you soon. Thanks, Julie.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we'll switch gears now to the Youth Commission. We have 3 vacancies on the Youth Commission and 3 applicants. And I do have Sue in the waiting room. I'll let her in.
And we have someone from Youth Commission coming, right?
Yes.
Carrie is coming.
Yep, she's right here. Thank you. Yep. So Carrie.
Hi, Sue. You're on mute. You're
Hey,
on
Laura.
mute.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Hi.
I haven't done Zoom in a bit. I have to remind myself to do it.
Hi, Carrie. Thanks
Great
for
to see
joining us. We
you.
appreciate it.
Problem.
Nice,
Hi,
Sue.
everyone.
Okay, I'll let you guys.
Okay, so hello, I am Julianne Hirsch, and I think you both might know Laura.
Yeah, hi.
And we are the Select Board Interview Subcommittee meeting applicants tonight for boards and commissions. And we are lucky enough to have Carrie here tonight to talk about Youth Commission and what the applicants can expect from that group. So hi, Susan. Hi, Carrie. Generally, we start with, Sue, why are you, applying for this particular commission? But I think it would be helpful if Carrie maybe went over what their charge is and how often they meet and kind of the details of the group. Is that okay with you?
That's great. Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you. So Sue, really great to meet. I have been with the commission for a little over a year now, and I am serving as our vice chair at the moment. And we are really meant to be an advisory and supportive board for really the youth focused activities within the Health and Human Services Department. And so as an advisory board, we have what I think is a really great entry point into supporting the town, perhaps a little bit less intense than if you're going in for some of the other commissions, and really focused on outreach and brainstorming and supportive work for a number of different programs. So we have been really focused over the past year on really rebuilding ourselves because we are primarily all brand new, with the exception of one member who's actually been with us for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yeah, Joan, and she's been a really great support to really just help us get going again. There was also a bit of, I think it was about a year's hiatus where the group was in transition and not regularly meeting. And so as that, I realized I started to talk about programs and then shifted. But as part of that, as we've been rebuilding, one of our key focuses has been really on trying to get awareness of those youth-focused programs out into the community. And so we've been doing a lot of outreach, really thinking about middle school and high school as a key place where we've had our initial success, but we are also thinking about younger kids, what that programming does need to be, or how to get in front of families, especially families with younger kids who may not already have the connections that the school district's able to provide. So you may be familiar with some of the key programs like the Inn Will Be Well festival over at Ellsworth. Yeah. But then there's also a monthly book club. There's a couple of other really, really great initiatives that the department's also been supporting, like they're called Picnics over at the library, which are a really fun movie and community gathering and like picnic theme. So really just focused on a lot of good community building. And then towards the older ages, trying to think about how to get in the most supportive ways engaged with youth to really focus in part on supporting the Encompass programming, which is around everything from like risk and substance abuse behaviors and what we can help encourage for youth just for the alternatives.
Right. Great.
Yeah, monthly meeting. We have been meeting a hybrid, so you could join remotely if that's something that's a better option. A lot of us do come in person, but we've been doing the both. It is, of course, live streamed. And then additional support for events outside of that monthly meeting. It varies, but it's been give or take maybe another hour on top of that most times.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Sounds good. Thank you for the overview.
Of course.
I realized I hadn't asked any questions through email. I was like, should I have asked more? I don't know. So that was super helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
Harry, did I notice that you also have a student representative?
Yeah. So we are, we'll be joined by students this fall. We spent the last couple of months really reshaping our youth liaison positions. Yeah. So thank you for reminding me to cover that as well. We'll have, I believe all 4 have ultimately accepted. So they're non-voting members, but we're really, really excited to have their engagement. They'll be with us starting in September when we start reconvening. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, that's super helpful. I'm sure. Get the different perspective.
Yeah, and they spread a couple of the grades as well. So that'll also be really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Great.
So do you have a certain passion for youth programming, or is
Yeah, so basically I sort of find myself in a spot where I spent the last 18 years, no, more like 20 years, like doing a lot of local stuff in the youth space. So teaching CCD, coaching softball. I was the grants chair for the Northborough Foundation for many years. So all these different youth focused volunteer thing, I ran the middle school youth group at St. Rose for a while. And then now my kids are in college and I'm like, I don't want to not be with young people. So a lot of the things that I like to do also, I think, crossover. So I love the outdoors and I love art and I love gardening. So I think lots of things that are interesting to youth. So last year, it's a group, and I can't remember the name of it, but there's a new position at the high school where they have people from the community come in and speak to the students about different job roles. And so they had me come in and speak about being a professional photographer. And I really enjoyed it. Like kids had questions. They were like, how'd you get into that? And, what do you do or whatever. It was just interesting. So I just love curiosity. And I think that young people are super curious. And so I found myself this winter, to be honest with you, I bit off more than I could chew for many years. I was doing too much volunteer work probably and juggling my kids and like focusing on their sports teams and volunteering and the church. And so then all of a sudden I sort of have rotated off all of these boards and all of these positions and my kids are grown. And so this winter I was sort of like, what am I doing? So that's somebody had mentioned that this was an opening and asked if I was interested. And I was like, actually, that sounds really like something I would be interested in. So, and I feel like I have a lot of experience in different aspects of the community. So I'm a local business owner. I'm also lived in Northborough for 25 years. So just different, between different groups I've been involved in, I just feel like I have a lot of different aspects of the community. Prior to owning my own business, I was a director of marketing in the publishing industry. So the idea of helping kind of figure out the outreach piece is kind of fun for me too. Like brainstorming different ways to market the different events or whatever is something I would be interested in also. So, yeah. Do you guys have questions for me about my skills or anything?
Laura?
I think your background is great. I especially love how much experience you have working with kids. And I love that you were inspired by that career day that Algonquin hosted. And I hope that this committee can give you more access to those types of experiences. Because I think when you've got that ability and, you know, a large range of ages that you've worked with, it'll be a nice complement to the work of the committee and to the people that you'll be working with. So I didn't really have any questions, but thank you for your interest in serving.
Yeah, thanks. I'm trying to think of anything. Oh, you know, the other thing I thought of is, so my daughter was the secretary for National Honor Society last year, and she was always trying to find good volunteer opportunities because she was the one that had to track all the people's volunteer hours. So you need a certain amount of volunteer hours to get into the society, as well as a bunch of other qualifications like grades and stuff. But then once you're in there, you also still need to do a certain amount of volunteer work. So she was often struggling to help people find volunteer opportunities. So like service is another one of my passions. So it's like, I feel like people build friendships and community through service. It's like, and a lot of the times when youth are doing it, they don't even really know that they're doing service. You know what I mean? They're out there like cleaning up a trail, or, you know, like Boy Scouts or whatever, and they're doing something and they're just hanging out with their buddy outside. Maybe they're picking up trash, but they don't think of it that way. And then they make friendships. And so I feel like my daughter, that's how she made a lot of her friends. And then when she had this role in National Honor Society, she was asking me to help her find things. So like I got her involved in the St. Rose Community Garden we'd already been doing. So then we found another community garden. There's a Victory Garden in Southborough that we got involved in. But it was just kind of sort of an easy, like it's helping and it's also easy for kids to do. And so that National Honor Society piece, there maybe is a link that we could partner with them to help even younger kids find volunteer work, just to give them something to do. I don't know. Anyways, that was just another piece that sort of seemed connected.
Well, also building connections in town, and and feeling like you're really part of the town's progress and movement. But yeah,
totally. Like we pick it, like when we pick the food from the community garden, then we bring it to the food pantry. So then Lindsay later decided, Lindsay's my daughter, to then volunteer at the food pantry. So it was like but she may not have made that leap, and she met somebody there and then found out that you can volunteer there too, and then she found out that some other things she was involved in was related. I don't know, just there's a lot of connections.
I think you said something that's really true also, is when you're doing something like that with your friends, it doesn't seem like work. Like even if you're gardening in hot weather and your friends are there, it's like, well, this is not so bad. It's fun because all my buddies are around. But
right. So I grew up doing a lot of youth group work in high school, and those were all my closest friends. We did like a wreath sale and a bake sale, and we had like a Friday night, we'd bake a bunch of stuff and then sell it, and the money went to different charities, but it was fun. It wasn't work, right? So I feel like if we can kind of have kids do that kind of stuff, and then even sometimes the kids who may not have so many friends, but you can sign up for it. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter if you have, then maybe you make some friends. So I feel like it's good for the kids who have a whole crew, but it's also good for kids who maybe don't, because everyone there is gonna be doing it all together. So I don't know. I always thought Sarpus was a good youth program.
I'm glad to hear about the National Honor Society requirement also.
Yeah.
I could maybe talk to you about opportunities in town.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I can reach back out to the people at the high school. I'd be happy to do that. But yeah, so I think there's sometimes there's little pieces of community that aren't connected that easily could be.
Mm-hmm. So Carrie, what do you have a budget? Or is it all from HHS?
Yeah, so with the restructuring for Health and Human Services, the Board of Health has all of that oversight component. And so we are just purely advisory. So we are not dealing with a budget. Of course, we have, the considerations around open town meeting and things along those lines, but we really focus on hearing the overall insight of the programming that they've been doing, thinking about to what you just said around what parts of the community do we know that we think may not yet be connected? And do we have the connections in the room? Where could we go? Or where do we want to show up to try to build those connections? So it's really less around thinking about some of the more holistic work. So less financial, less really like getting in the weeds of how that work is getting done, and really just thinking about like, what as community members can we offer to help strengthen it all? Yeah.
Mhm. And any relationship with Parks and Rec? Any?
Primarily through the staff themselves, I would say. I am newer to town, so the other thing that I've definitely learned, newer, it's been 4 years, but it feels like it's not that much time. And one thing I've learned is that some of our other commission members just know a lot of people, and so they've got a name right in their brain to ask about, like, oh, have we connected with or have we talked to? And so definitely a lot of it comes through that type of brainstorming outreach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Laura, last chance to ask any questions?
No, we're good. Thank you.
Okay,
I'm
great.
sorry, we have a tight schedule and
No, it's all good. Yeah, that's great. Well, it's super nice to meet you all, and let me know what the next steps are once you guys know.
okay, Sue, don't go away. What happens now is after we interview everyone, Laura and I talk, no final decision is made until it goes before the full board.
Okay.
So we're just kind of the introductory people.
Okay,
So
great.
But thank you so much for applying. Thank you so much for doing everything you do.
Thank you.
And nice to see, Carrie, you stay on, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. All right,
Thank
take
you
care.
for your help, Carrie.
Thanks, Sue.
I'll
See you
jump off.
later.
Have a
Bye.
great night.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we have Ashley next. I'll let her in.
Hi,
Hi,
Ashley.
Ashley.
Hi there.
So let me introduce everybody.
Sure.
So my name is Julianne Hirsch. I'm on the select board. We have Laura Zeiton, who's also on the board, and Carrie, who is representing the Youth Commission. And she has all the information about what the commission does and what you can
Wonderful.
expect.
Great.
So generally, the first question is, there's lots of boards and committees to volunteer for in town, and you volunteered for this one. So if you have a special interest in children and
So,
services.
yeah, thank you. So I have a 9-year-old son. We just purchased our home. We've lived in Northborough for a while, but rented. And so we just purchased on Summer Street, and my son's going to be joining Peasley for 4th grade. And I have a 1-year-old daughter as well. So we live walking distance to Assabet Park. We use Ellsworth McAfee. We go to the library almost every day because we're walking distance. My son's done a few clinics through the recreation department. And so this is my first time kind of in my mid-30s and having my children, being a part of a community and owning a home in town. And so I just wanted to try to get involved. And I felt like that was something that I had the most experience with already, and that I could have firsthand opinions or experience, using the services and having opinions on how things go.
Well, they go with a lot of volunteer work.
Yeah.
And before we go to Carrie to explain things, Laura, can you give the history of Ellsworth McAfee?
Oh my gosh. This was so fun. So Ellsworth McAfee, and I could goof this up, so I apologize, but many years ago, I did a little bit of research with some help from friends. But I think it was up for sale, and the Junior Women's Club, which just celebrated their 100th anniversary, did a fundraising activity, and their dream was to have it be soccer field. So now as you're there, and I feel bad, the woman's name completely slips my mind, but these women really did a lot of work back in the 80s to make that park possible. And I am so grateful for all their work, and I'm glad that you're enjoying it and that you're in walking distance.
Yep. Yeah. We love it. We go there for the concerts. My son played one season of Northborough soccer. So we've used the field.
Many hours.
Yes. Yep. We use them late at night if, just to
Yep.
go down. So it's wonderful. We love it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. And I appreciate
So-
your interest in serving on this committee and this board, rather.
Yes, we digressed, but now we'll let Carrie explain what
Sorry, Carrie.
Great.
No worries. My kids not Alphabet too, and Ellsworth all the time. So I'm learning it. But yeah, so Ashley, nice to meet. I am the vice chair for the commission. I've been on it for a little over a year. We are not a young board in the sense that it's existed for a long time, but we're young in that there was a little bit of a hiatus. The Health and Human Services Department has gone through some changes over the past couple of years. And so we resumed meeting only last fall, really, and started setting new goals based upon, yes, the existing mission, but also what's the best way that we can operate at this time. And most of us are new to the board or relatively new as well. So it's, I think, a really great time to consider joining us. We meet once a month. We also do support the Health and Human Services team with outreach. And so there's opportunities to do a little bit more for another hour or two every month, pretty much every month. We do not meet during the summer. I forgot to tell our previous candidate that, but we'll pause for July and August and resume in September. And our key goals are to really support and advise the Health and Human Services Department for their youth-focused programming. So not so much the more like health department activities that they have, so less towards like epidemiology and more towards things like hearing about and advising on everything from the Be Well programming to the Flick Next that they do at the library. If you're familiar with those, the like picnic and movie setup, the wellness Words of Wellness book club that they started. Thinking about youth outreach for older youth, ways to present information to them that's a little more at their speed and digestible, but also having a social media presence that reaches those of us, traditional adults who just want to know when the splash pads open an extra day because it's so hot out. And one of our key things that we're doing in all this is really thinking about what's the connective work that we can do in the community to really say, like, here's some things that we're hearing or seeing or needs or opportunities, and how can we pull it all together to support your ongoing work. So we're not dealing as an advisory board with things like knowing all the nuances of regulations and codes or dealing with a budget. It's depending upon what you're looking for. I really enjoy that. It's really kind of that more connective community-based approach and advisory approach. And really, really supporting with outreach to get the word out there and to help get the right people to help inform and support the work that the team is doing. They're doing so much that's really incredible. Yeah.
That sounds more up my alley as well. Just a little bit of background as well. I own just a small hair salon, a 3-chair salon right on West Main Street. And so many of my clients are Northborough parents as well, mothers mostly. So I feel like that's a constant conversation about what our kids need or what families need or who's helping who that don't have certain resources. So I feel like that's something I do day to day pretty much anyways, is just have those conversations with people that are already in the community.
That is so great. It's good. Yeah. It's a good time to have a good conversation with someone.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
That or driving your child in the car for a half an hour.
Right. That's when the best conversations happen. Everything starts flowing.
So do you have any questions? You mentioned the schedule and everything. Any other questions for Carrie or for us?
If there are specific days, I think I was it Tuesdays that they typically meet, or is there a specific day that they typically meet?
Yeah, so we'll be meeting Tuesdays, and now I have to remember we're shifting, I believe, might be the first Tuesday
Yeah.
of the month.
I,
But it's
I
once a
think
month.
I think I signed up knowing that it would work for me anyways. And then I know you said that it's pretty young, where it's like you just started meeting again, but when what would the ideal person, like what is the actionable things that you're looking for? What does it look like to like be a part of the board in a more like tangible idea? If that
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah.
it's a great question. And I think we, in general, have noted it's really hard to figure out getting in front of like younger families.
Mhm.
And I think this is so ironic that I'm the one saying it as a younger family, but I'm also like working most of the day and not the one who gets to take my kid to a lot of the community activities.
Yeah.
And so that was something that we'd noted that is just like challenging. And the team has been trying to think about like what else did they need to know about supporting young families. So it sounds like you are hitting that demographic as well with the 1 year old.
Yeah.
But I think in general, we are so new and trying to figure it out that we haven't like really had that clarity. What's also going to shift in addition to how we're sizably unstaffed. That's not quite the right phrasing, right? But we've not even had half our chairs filled at this point. So in addition to that, we're also going to have 4 youth liaisons joining us this fall that are all high schoolers. And we're really excited for that. And also, I think we just don't really know where that's going to bring us. They span, I think, rising sophomore through rising senior. They do have a lot of interests and ideas of how we can get youth engaged and get like better in front of youth or create programming or support the programming that does exist to be like more connective with teens, which is going to be really exciting. But that leaves a lot, to be seen at this point around where we're going to go and what we're going to do. Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. It's not so much like a pigeonholed idea at this
Yeah.
point. That's nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's a lot of brainstorming.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And I think really those kids, their application showed some really awesome ideas and thoughts. And yeah, we can't wait to have them on board, but that's definitely gonna also just expand what we get to think about.
Yeah, so any other questions or any other advice from Carrie that you want to talk about?
I mean, I think it would be exciting to be a part of something like this, and especially where it's kind of early on. It seems like really important work, and
I think it'll
I
be
think that
really,
it would be really cool.
it's great that you're so involved with HHS because you have staff behind, a lot of staff behind you, and
Yeah.
it's
True.
it's all different aspects of what children need from from different sources.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
we're really thankful that you are applying. It's it's great that you're in your new house now and wanting to get involved, and between a 1-year-old and a 9-year-old, you do a couple of different demographics, right?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
School
Yeah.
age, infant, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
and all fun.
Yeah. It's just families, and especially like I nannied before having my children and everything. So I feel like this has just kind of been up my alley for a while too. So
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I can only say that I have my grandchildren staying with me for a while, and I've started to take, to make use of all the great things that this town has for little children. And
oh yeah.
I will say the splash pad is high on the list,
Oh yeah.
especially today and yesterday.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
So anyway, I do have to apologize. We're a little bit on a tight schedule.
That's fine.
And I just want to tell you that, you know, the decision comes to the full board. Laura and I talk after this, and then we present to the full board on Monday, and hopefully you will have some new members soon by your meeting in September.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Ashley.
So thank you so much, Ashley. Carrie, you'll
Thank you,
stick
Ashley.
one more.
All right. Thank you so much for meeting with me. I'll let
Thank
you off.
you.
So nice to meet
Thanks,
you.
Ashley.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
So yeah, we have one more. We have Christy, and she's in the waiting room. I'll let her in now. One moment.
You're running on very thorough time, Julianne.
Yeah. Looks like she's trying to connect. There we go. Hi, Christy. Can you see us? Oh, I think your audio is still working. There we
All
go.
right.
Mhm.
I think we're
Hi.
working now.
There you go.
I don't do a lot of Zoom meetings. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I love the in-person. I love that this committee is meeting in person. I much prefer that. It's a whole different dynamic.
Well, isn't your committee meeting, you know, all kinds of needs? Do you do hybrid or?
We've been doing a hybrid, yeah.
Oh, you have?
A
Uh-oh.
lot
I
of
thought I
us
read
meet
it
in
was
person every
in-person.
month, but we do have to live stream anyways, and so we've got a couple of us who join remotely. But yeah, there's a core group that's usually in person. Yeah.
Okay,
Good options, Christy.
good.
So, from your application, it sounds like you find yourself with a little bit of time to volunteer.
Yes, I'm soon to be empty nester. One has been launched. He's in Philadelphia. He's out of the house for at least a couple of years. And the other one is soon to be launched, to be TBD. So he's on his own timetable and I'm letting him take the lead. So he's going to take a gap year at least before he goes to college, which I think is really a great idea.
So generally we start these with, you know, what is your particular interest in this commission? I noticed that you had a background in psychology, which.
Yes, I really wanted to be a psychologist. I actually wanted to be a family therapist, which I would have been great at, but I would have taken home everybody's problems with me. I'd be constantly thinking about my patients, you know, and now that I have a family of my own, I just say I could not have done that and had a family of my own. So I made the right decision. I didn't pursue a master's or anything. I just said, I'm going to take some business classes and go into human resources, which is kind of a mix of business and psychology. It was a perfect field for me. I loved it. I loved working in HR.
So we're lucky enough to have Carrie here. She's the vice chair, right?
Yes.
Of the Youth Commission, and she's just going to explain how this, you know, how it runs, the schedule, and actually, you know, what you will be expected to contribute.
Okay.
Yeah, so Christy, it's great to connect. So I'm our vice chair. I've been with the commission for a little over a year now. We've only been actively meeting for about a year, though. We are sort of a refreshed commission. I think about 18 months ago, the Health and Human Services Department was merged and restructured. That was something that actually came out of town meeting. And as a result, there's two boards, the Board of Health that advises their more classic health components of the programming, epidemiology and the likes, and that's also a regulatory board, whereas we're the advisory board really focused on the youth programming that Health and Human Services is running and executing. And so I think what I'm wondering you may be interested in is what's really fun about that is we're not like problem solving individual heavy like things around what's going on in town. It's really like the community focused connective work of outreach, of really amplifying the awesome programming that the department has going and thinking about how we can make sure everyone knows about it, help inform the work that they're doing. But it's really, I think, kind of like a lighthearted way to really be giving back to some really quality programming and to really support some really awesome stuff. They are busy, they're everywhere, they're doing everything. And one of the key things that we do when we're not in our once a month meetings is we are also attending events alongside them to help talk about the commission, to help talk about the programs that they do have for kids, for teens, et cetera. And so it's really getting to help just let everyone know about the awesome work that they're doing. We do meet once a month. It is hybrid, as I said. Outside of that, there's a lot of flexibility around what else you can support. We do a lot of attendance, as I said, at some of the other programming that they're offering. So, for example, there's going to be a day of wellness coming up in a couple of weeks that a couple of the commission members will be joining just to help be other faces and help tell everyone about it. We've joined some of the Ellsworth McAfee concerts this summer. We'll be attending a lot of the elementary school open houses just to get the word out about the team's work and all the different resources and everything that they have. And then another thing that's happening this fall, in addition to adding in more members to the commission, but we'll also be welcoming 4 youth liaisons as well, who are all high school students from rising sophomores to seniors who are going to just really help us better understand how the department's work can really tap into what's interesting and appealing to teens, what meets teens' needs. They all bring actually a wide variety of thoughts for what we could do or how the commission could help just show up for kids and teens in town. And I'm really, really excited for their voices too.
If you're going to ask me my ideas, and I'm not lying about this, that was going to be one of my ideas. Like, there has to be youth on this committee because I could see high schoolers really, really giving good advice, and you just don't know what's going on. And they're living in such a different world than I lived in.
Oh, so, yeah.
One of my things I really want to work. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 20 years. I did a video business just to like keep my mind going, and I love doing family videos. I did a lot of video slideshows for weddings and bar mitzvahs and all that, but now anyone can just do it on their phone in like 10 minutes. I miss doing that. But so I'm so excited to work again. I'm pursuing my dream, which is to be an actress, but I'm going to be a voice actress. So I'm trying to become a voiceover artist, but it's very competitive. It's very part-time, but I'm not giving up on that dream. I want to move to Hollywood, become an actress. My mom stopped me. She said, it's sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Hollywood would have eaten me alive. I hate to admit it, but she was right. Moms know. Anyway, so I'm shy, but audiobooks, commercials, you'd be surprised it's not like I think I have a great voice. I love acting. I went to big schools. I never really got into the plays because it was too competitive. So still pursuing the dream. So I'm not giving up on the dream. And then I want to do something HR related. So I'm going to do a career coaching business. Not sure if that's going to work or not, because everyone loves to do everything online. And again, I want to meet people in person. I want to meet kids at Panera and say, what's your long-term goals? What's your, 1-year goal? What can you do volunteering before? The job market right now is crazy. It's just very topsy-turvy. And I feel like there needs to be more personalization. So I'm going to be the job search with heart. That's what I'm calling my business. So, and my business is called Opportunities. And that's basically why I wanted to join this youth commission, because I think we just want to provide opportunities for youth. I have 2 kids. One has some pretty severe mental health issues. but I want him to have the same opportunities as everyone else. There's a lot of stigma out there. I have another kid who's transgender, who's just really having a hard time in this environment. And he's always had the best opportunities through sports, high school. Let's meet him. But he's struggling now, but I'm letting him struggle because he's in Philadelphia. He has to, learn to be on his own. I'm sorry. I'm an emotional mom. This is why I'm a good voice actor. I get the feeling across. I promise I won't cry at meetings, but when I talk about my kids, I get, if you're all moms, you probably understand, but he's having a hard time right now. So I don't want to think about him. I have to separate myself from him. He'll manage because he's had a lot of hardships in his life, but he has grown from them. So it's really important that, the world isn't just smooth sailing.
No.
For no one.
Right.
I have to comment, Christy. I don't mean to interrupt you, but one thing that really struck me, and now even hearing, this background and how it's come to life for you, but the fact that you've experienced some challenging medical needs with your children and neuro, just different, these are definitely different groups that we need to reach, and they're so critically important to our community. And I love that you come with that passion and that experience. And I hope that your children will both find ways to flourish and thrive. But thank you so much for taking that and helping extend it to other kids that may not have that same loving, supportive family system.
Yeah.
And I hope that all children in our towns are loved and supported. But if there's one thing that we've really learned recently is that it's a tougher world for them. And I think your empathy will really help. And hopefully there's people in Pennsylvania that are helping your son find that support. So
that's why he's going to that school he's going to. Yeah.
Good. And we'll do our
he
best
will
to
grow from
support
it.
you.
And he has to advocate for himself. So,
yeah.
And he's 22 now. So
put those skills to use, for you and for him.
Yeah.
So thank you for
he still calls me every night. It's just a 5-minute conversation. But he calls me, which I love, and it makes me feel better that everything's, he's doing okay.
Yeah.
So
it's so true.
Speaking of that, Carrie, I'm curious, have you identified, issues that are heightened for children now? Is it like social media, phones in school, that kind of thing? Are those the kinds of, I guess for a better word, problems that you advise about?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say less around advising on how to solve them and more around how to best hear from youth on what they think is the ways to support them. And so I have to just give the team credit though. Sometimes we're pitching ideas and they're like, we have done that a couple times over. So they do already conduct surveys with youth just to hear from youth directly, and they get good response rates and good data out of it, especially out of the Encompass program, I believe it's called. And when you're asking that question, Julianne, I'm remembering probably 4 or 5 months ago, we were talking about just some of the learnings that they had around youth and risky behaviors, and really trying to make sense of what they were learning around the different behaviors for like substance use and abuse. And I think even in a town like ours, that can still be a challenge for youth. And the trends they just look different than maybe any of the 4 of us would anticipate, given our gaps from when we were last in high school in the situation. Yeah. So they've got some really great insight. And so we're less helping them identify what might be some of those areas to really focus on, but more thinking about like, how do we make sure that we're getting all the voices? I just, for my professional hat, I like, it's great information and great data, it includes, and it can be dissected to make sure that it's really understanding and hearing from voices across the board. So, I actually remember asking around like, is there a subset that you could stratify for kids who identify as LGBTQ? And like that was actually like solidly in there. Same with just like being able to understand gender differences and some of those responses and how that risk landscape changes. And it's really great programming. I will say again, just again, wondering about where you were with the heaviness versus like looking for something a little more like fun to ease into. We don't spend all our time there, but we are talking about and checking in on all of those parts of their programming as much as we're thinking about how do we have fun opportunities for kids and families to get together? How do we let everyone know about, you know, the very broad set of services that the department offers? Yeah.
And there are a lot of good services out there. We've been members of PFLAG forever.
Yeah.
My son is in out Metro West. He, you know, not that he's in now that he's in Philadelphia, but they're very, very good programs. And, you know, that's basically how he's met other kids. And, you know, he went to summer camp when he was younger, which was just life-changing. So there's so many good programs out there that you don't have to have one in every town, though it is nice to, but sometimes they're not as well attended because there's so many other things out there I found. So, but we just moved to Northborough in 2019, and we moved the fall of 2019. COVID hit. My business kind of, you know, my equipment kept breaking. I kept saying, you know, all right, this is a sign, you know, and then technology kept changing. So I said, you know, I'll take a rest on my business for a while. But Northborough has been, you know, we moved from Maynard, which is a very small town, is a great town. We loved living there, but they're just so small. They don't have the resources. They could not support my youngest son, and he was just really struggling, and nobody wants to move, you know, but there weren't any good private schools that were a good fit. And, you know, we said, you know, my other son was going to Assabet at the time, technical school. So we just said, you know, Northborough, Westborough, and then we found a home here. And Northborough just does it right. They just do everything right. I've just been kind of a bystander seeing, you know, everything done, and, you know, the town meetings, everything. I mean, you just have, I know you have more resources because you're a larger town, but the school, you know, Michael's old school, you know, they didn't understand that he was anxious. He does a lot of masking, you know, and like they picture an anxious kid to be sitting in the corner shaking, you know. And I met with the school principal at Milliken. She's like, oh, we go through a lot of training about anxiety and depression. And it was just such a relief. I'm like, we moved to the right town. And it's really helped my son. He went to Assabet too, I hate to say. So I haven't integrated myself in the community because my kids weren't in the sports. They weren't in the schools. And we live on a busy road. I don't know too many neighbors. So, you know, this is another way to integrate myself into the community because I really want to get to know people. Like,
well, it's
shy.
a great committee that you're looking to join, and you certainly have the background, my goodness. So I do have to apologize. We have another candidate waiting.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
But, you know, Laura and I discussed at the end of this meeting, and we make recommendations to the full board. So you'll be hearing back from us.
Very good.
And Carrie, I really want to thank you for joining.
Thank you so much.
Such a valuable thing to have you here. And Christy,
Christy,
thank you
it was
so much
so
for
nice to
volunteering.
meet you.
And thanks for, you know, those nice things that you know, Northborough is a great town, and sometimes we need to hear it.
Yeah, I promise I'm not sucking up. I mean it sincerely. Every interaction I've had, I'm like, oh, this is so easy now. All right. Well, thank you so much. It was nice meeting all of you.
Thank you. Thanks, Karen. Appreciate it.
Yeah, just confirming I am good to go. You guys are switching to a different commission, right? Okay.
Yeah,
thank you so much, Carrie.
Of course. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
So do we have the chair of DEI?
So Mary wasn't able to make it, so we have Cynthia, who's a member.
Great.
So she's very knowledgeable. And then Jim, and they're both in the waiting room. I'll let them in now. And I'm going to stay on as well because I work closely with Guy for the DEIB committee. So just in
Oh,
case anyone has any
wonderful.
questions. Yeah.
Hi,
Hi,
Cynthia.
Cynthia.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Good. How
Good
are
to
you?
see you.
Good.
Thank-
Good. I'm staying cool. That's what's important, right?
Hi, James.
Hi, Jim. Nice to meet you.
So my name is Julie
You're on
Hirsch.
mute.
This, my friend is Laura, and we are both on the select board, and we're the interview subcommittee. And it's important for you to meet Angie because she is the staff liaison. Am I saying this correctly?
Di is, but her and I work closely together on the DEIB committee. So yeah.
Perfect. And Cynthia, are you the chair, or you're going to help
No,
us
I'm
out?
just one of the members. So I'm
Uh-huh.
one of the members of the DEIB committee. Nice to meet you, Jim.
Very nice to meet you as well.
So generally we start the interview with, nice to meet you. And of the many committees that are in town, do you have a special interest in DEIB?
I do. I have been a scout leader. I've coached baseball. I've coached basketball. I've coached soccer. Been highly involved in the town, and but all of that was with my youngest son. My oldest child is actually transgender. That started in the sixth grade, and it's been kind of a remarkable journey, um, just for my own personal growth, like not just thinking about what I've learned through the process, but then also teaching my younger son, teaching my wife, teaching my mother, teaching our friends, um, positions with the church. It's just been super, super rewarding. And it's a nice opportunity for me to kind of balance the ledger for my two kids. I've done so much for my youngest son. This just seems like a great opportunity to do more for my older son.
So we're lucky enough to have Cynthia here who can tell us about what the committee does. I think for a little bit during COVID, did you take a break, or
Well, yeah, there's been periods where we haven't met. So we've had difficulty with schedules. And I don't think we've met, Angie, you're going to have to correct me, but I don't think we've met since October of last year. We've
Yeah,
tried.
we did the December meeting and did the reorg, but we have not met. I was just talking to Di before the meeting today, and we're definitely hoping to resume in September. We had in this September. In December, we had decided on doing the third Tuesday of every month meeting. So we're hoping to do that again. And really, Di and I are talking about, we really are hoping to kind of refocus our efforts, set some priorities, look to doing some outreach programs. I've reached out to some other communities and looking at some of the stuff that they've done. So maybe we can present that at our next meeting. Shrewsbury does something really cool. It's called Neighbor to Neighbor, and it's a video series where you have two neighbors of completely different backgrounds, or different points of view, and they meet and discuss. It's a really, really neat concept. I don't know what it takes to get that up and running, but just some other towns have some great ideas. So I don't know if you agree, Cynthia, but hopefully meeting in September, and like I said, refocusing our priorities and kind of deciding where to go from there, and getting some ideas.
Great.
So some of the things that the committee had done before was sort of set a community events calendar to try to be inclusive. We have an opportunity to expand that a little bit more to represent disability a little bit stronger. We don't have a particular event that we do focused on celebrating diversity as a form of disability, right? Disability being the form of diversity. And we've talked a little bit about just different operational types of things, accessibility, inclusion, that sort of thing. So we don't have a roadmap right now as to what we're doing. We're still in the formative stage, I would say, in terms of, this group defining what we're going to be doing next. So you're coming in at a great time to contribute to that and to just help build that and move us forward.
Excellent. That's it. That sounds exciting. Part of my back. Go ahead.
How many members do you have now?
So it's a board of 9 members. 6 are appointed by the select board. So we do have obviously one of those positions open now. The other 3, it's the staff liaison, who's Diane. Then we have Deidre, who works at Northeastern, and she's actually the school department's the Coalition for Equity rep. So she's part of our group. And then we have Virginia George, who is the Council on Aging rep.
Oh, great. I'm sorry, Jim, I interrupted you. Go ahead with your question.
It wasn't a question, it was more of a statement. It sounds super exciting that you're in the beginning stages of building that roadmap. Part of my background has always been really big on executing events. So like in college, I was a class officer for all 4 years, and what I was really good at was meeting people where they're at and kind of bringing them into the process, knowing that not all people are going to be exactly where I want them. And I developed a skill of being able to read people, come back to them at a later date, and get them involved later down the line. So by the time I graduated, and you bring that even further, 25 years after graduation, when I go to an event and put it on, the whole class is engaged because of what I've done over 30 years. I've taken that same process to my professional life. I've taken it to the events that I've run in town. It's what I'm really good at. So it sounds super exciting to potentially be like on the ground level of, okay, what's the roadmap going to be and what can we do? It almost sounds like an open slate, a whiteboard. So that's exciting.
And that's amazing what you are able to negotiate with people and get everybody, not everybody's gonna be 100% happy at the end, but if they're 50% happy, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Do you come to town meeting?
I have been to the town meetings.
Talk about
Yeah.
trying to make everybody feel happy in the end, right? It's
Right. There was a few times I was getting my wife's like, just sit, be quiet. Wow. So, yeah.
You're breaking up a little
What
bit.
would you like to know about me?
What would we like
Can you hear me okay?
I said, what would you like to know?
Oh,
Yes.
I feel bad. Is it my connection or is it
I
Jim's?
think
No, Jim said, what would we
breaking
like
up
to
a
know
little.
about him?
Oh,
There we go. Thanks, you're back, Jim.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
so well, thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate where you're able to take your experience at home and apply it so we can hopefully reach a wider audience. And diversity and supporting our LGBTQ community is so important. And I appreciate that you're looking for ways to extend that. Is there something in particular about the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee that really inspires you, or is there something you're looking forward to doing that's really kind of got your attention?
I equate it to giver's gain. So anything that I can bring to your committee, hopefully is of value, but me being potentially part of the committee, you're going to expose me to a lot of things where I have to continue my own personal journey to support my oldest. That's really what this is about. It's I can motivate and inspire a lot of people while at the same time putting myself in a better place to support my oldest. It's that simple. Some of the things that I've done, it's just amazing how much it touches him.
Yeah.
And half the time, I'm still, as much as I've learned, I'm just scratching the surface, and
Yeah.
I'm getting by. You know, the church, the Worcester diocese came out with an article, and I was like, oh, that doesn't sit well with me. So I called our priest and I said, hey, I'd love to have coffee with you. I have some concerns over the point of view of the church. And I went and I had coffee for 90 minutes with our local priest. And my oldest was like, Dad, you are just unbelievable. You picked a fight with the church for me. And I said, I didn't pick a fight. I was trying to understand their point of view, but also
Mhm.
articulate my point of view relative to all God's children and being accepted. And what I
Yeah.
told my oldest son was really like, you need to go to the church. You need to hear what I heard, whether you have the church in your life or not, completely your call. But I would encourage you to go have the meeting that I had. I'm happy to go facilitate the conversation. And it was just very eye-opening. And when we
Yeah.
went through family counseling, man, it was like a project manager. Okay, would come out of the meeting. Okay, here's what I heard. You wanted this. I heard them say that. Like, it was managing the entire team, team being our immediate family, our extended family. And the hardest one was my youngest son, who was just like not on board. And I said, you know, as you get older, someday you'll have your own family and you'll understand what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So to me, it's all about education,
Yep.
which never stops. It's about getting people to events, and it's about celebration.
Yep.
Had a
And
great
I
celebration. I believe you know Karen Eris.
yep. You're breaking up. I'm so sorry, but I know Karen.
Yeah, at Karen's house, we did an outdoor concert for a large group of kids just to have a celebration. We had an outdoor movie for Queen. We had the 10 by 10 outdoor screens. We put out the speakers. We probably had about 50 people. We raised $3,000. It was awesome.
Oh, I so before I say that, I want to comment on that. But what I did want to say is I hope that your experience with your son, you can take some of that knowledge and bring that to the committee so we can, as a town, do more support to support him and others that need that extra support. So thank you for sharing that, and I hope that that's something that'll really
Sure.
weigh in on your your contributions to the committee. And then I was also going to say I love the picture that you sent of the Mount Washington hike and celebrating, and these accomplishments. So I really, it's so important from an awareness perspective for the work that you're doing. So thank you. And I hope you could hear that. And I'm sorry for the choppy connection.
I heard it. I heard it. Um, the hike was a presidential range hike in one day, and we had the flag. What flag do you want? And I said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. I accept you for who you are, what you want to be. It doesn't matter. Give me any flag you want. I'm gonna wear them. So that was a great time.
Cynthia, do you have anything else you'd like to tell Jim, or any questions for him?
I don't have any questions for you, Jim. I know we don't know each other yet. I'm looking forward to getting to know you. I've been here for, oh my God, how long now? More than 20 years. And I have family members who have been on a similar journey to your child's. So I think we have a lot to share with each other. And I'm just looking forward to having that other aspect of diversity amplified in our group. I think it would be great.
I agree.
Laura, anything else?
No, I've enjoyed getting to know you, and I definitely look forward to the work that both of you are going to do on behalf of the committee. So thank you so much, Cynthia, for being here tonight. It's always
Oh, I'm
nice
happy to.
see you.
Anytime you guys need anything, just give me a holler. I'm always around. I don't have a very exciting life, so
It's not that,
which
but
is good.
I could validate that when something is needed, Cynthia never fails to miss the call. So thank you.
I try. Good to meet you, Jim. Look forward
Yes.
to connecting with you more. And are you all set? Do you need me
Likewise.
anymore? You guys
No,
all
I
set?
think we're good.
I think
So
we're
Jen,
good. Thank you.
now Laura and I discuss all the applicants, and what happens is that we make recommendations to the full board, and at their meeting on Monday, a vote will be taken on the many interviews that we've heard tonight, and you'll be hearing from us.
Great.
Thank
Great.
you.
Well, stay cool,
Thanks, everyone.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for
You
coming.
too.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
One more day,
Bye-bye.
right?
Thank you, Jim.
One more day of
One more day. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Okay. Wow, we have some great applicants.
Julianne, before you go through the motions, I just want to make a correction. After we were talking about the cultural council having 2 3-year terms, for the if you could change the terms for the cultural council, I'd put 2 years because I was trying to stagger them a little bit, but we do have to do 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It
I have to
didn't
pull up the
click till they
motions.
mentioned it. Yeah. So the motions for the cultural council, I'd put a 2-year term. But
It's 3.
It'll be a 3-year. Yes.
It has to be 3. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay, so now we have to do this, according to the procedure. All right.
I'm just trying. I'm sorry. Can you pause for 1 second? I'm just trying to find the email. Just kind of giving some guidance on the motions. I know that is true. I know you sent it. Oh, I found it, Angie. Thank you.
Good. Okay.
Okay. So
Too
our
many
first
windows open.
candidate was Jack Carney. And what is your feeling about Jack? He was the alternate. He's very experienced.
Yeah, let me go back to my notes. Gosh, first of all, how lucky are we to have so many fabulous applicants before us? This is amazing.
I know.
So I was really impressed with Jack's comments. One of the things, when I asked him about the role, I guess he told us about the role of the ZBA, and he really has taken great strides to make sure that he is following. He's not there to make the laws, but he's there to enforce them. And I thought it was interesting that he was able to really separate that. And I did appreciate the flexibility. I mean, we continue to have these very long discussions at town meeting about use variances, and I feel like I could deliberate on both sides at this point, but I really appreciated how open-minded he was and looking at applications and really just making sure that everything is interpreted as thoroughly as it could be. It also appeared to me that there might be some gray area, which is more of a planning board probably topic, but when he was talking about the application between the special permit and the 4 use variances and the hardship, and then he ultimately came back and they said it was just a special permit. So I just thought, like, there's probably some gray area that the planning board is probably familiar with, but it definitely stood out to me when he was commenting about it today. But ultimately, I just really appreciated that he recognizes their role. He understands the bylaws, and I think he'll be a nice addition to the board. I appreciated that he's focused on real estate outside of the town, and he didn't see that as a conflict. And he's got a long history, in the town, and he's also served on the committee, so I think he knows what he's getting into. I'll pause for a minute. Did I answer your question?
Yes, I agree. I think he'll be a perfect fit as a voting member. So I will make, a motion. I move to recommend that the select board appoint Jack Carney as a voting member of the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term ending in 2028 at their next scheduled meeting.
Second?
All in favor, Laura?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So we will make that recommendation at our next meeting. Okay, so Samir is applying as an alternate for a 3-year term. So I almost would like to table this appointment. That would be my personal feeling, unless you feel strongly. Samir has some great ideas for the town, but I think that he's more about economic development and more planning than ZBA. And I appreciate when he said that he wanted to see that side of it, but I want to talk to him a little bit more, because it seems passion is in planning or economics. But if you disagree, please let me know.
No, I appreciate his passion. I really appreciate the thought that he's put into it and the experience. But he did, I think there are several other options that he had put on his application. And I know that I agree with you. He seems like he may have a skill set that's better suited for another committee, because of his desire to improve the services in the town, and just especially the economic development piece. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah. Well, I think we can have another conversation with him, and I don't want him to get into this and for him to think that that it's a board where he can do a lot of that master planning kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Angie, we're going to table that, but we will, do we bring it to the full board, or we can just mention that we're going to have a continued conversation?
Right. Yeah, and then we can schedule something with Samir. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Next was Shane, who is on the NAC and wants to be on the NCC, and she is the artist with and the young family, and wants to be busy. And I think her energy and her artistic interests, she would be a great addition to Cultural Council. Your thoughts?
I completely echo your sentiments. She seems like a natural fit. It'll be a nice, I think she's the second person that we've interviewed that came from NEC to serve simultaneously on the Cultural Council. So hopefully that's working out really nicely to have that collaboration.
Yeah. So do you want to make the motion here?
Sure. I move to recommend that the select board appoint Shane Goodwin to the Cultural Council for a 2-year term a 3-year term ending in 2028 at their next scheduled meeting. Did I do that right, Angie?
Good. Pick up on the year.
Okay.
Okay. I'll second that. And this should be a roll call vote. How do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye, and we will recommend Shane Goodwin to the full board. And then Julie Peterson.
Yes. So Julie was the girl that was referred by Jen Tolman, and she has experience as an event planner, and she does marketing for a security company. She also has aspirations to be, I think she said she's finishing her Master's of Fine Arts. So she's writing a fiction book, and she wants to participate more just in a variety of aspects to bringing more art to the community. And she seems very excited to serve. I think she'll bring a lot of good background to that committee. And I appreciate all the work that they do. And I think she definitely has the work ethic and desire that is going to be needed for those big projects that they've got coming up.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I will move to recommend that the select board appoint Julie Peterson to the Cultural Council for a 3-year term ending in 2028 at their next scheduled meeting.
Second.
Roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. And we will recommend Julie. And then next is Susan
Susan
as
Omer.
this is for Youth Commission.
Yep.
And she has so much experience working
I
with
know.
children. I mean,
I did love that about her. She's worked with a lot of different groups in town, which I think will give her a nice expansive network to really support the Youth Commission. I also love that she still enjoys working with kids. I thought it was, I mentioned this to her, but I love that she found inspiration for this board because of that high school event. It's always so interesting to see what is the trigger that excites people. And I hope that the Youth Commission will give her more opportunities to find those connections. And I think the fact that one of her focuses is outreach, she'll help really spread the word to the work of the Youth Commission. And she mentioned several times that services are passions. I think it was her that mentioned more of a centralized way of, letting folks in the community know about service opportunities, keeping more, just so the people that want to get involved will find a central area to find either projects or groups that will participate. So I think that, those are a couple of really great skills that will help, help, in the Youth Commission's work. I'm like jumbled words, I'm sorry.
I feel very positive about moving her appointment. Would you like to make the motion?
I would be honored. I move to recommend that the select board appoint Susan Ogar to the Youth Commission for a 3-year term ending in 2028 at their next scheduled meeting.
So this has to be roll call vote. How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. I also vote aye, and we will move her application forward. And then Christy. Oh, yes, Christy, the young mom.
She's got a 9-month-old and a 9-year-old. And I love that she's spending time. I never appreciated living downtown, but she's definitely involved in enjoying all of the, walkability. So we'll have to chime her in when we've got questions about what areas of improvement for downtown walkability go. But she had, she mentioned that she speaks a lot with local moms through her job and feels like that's been a good way for her to really, understand some of the needs. And I'm sure that, reaches a variety of ages in town, but also to help spread awareness about the type of work that the Youth Commission is doing. Also having a 9-month-old, she's going to be like right in the thick of it with those young families, which I think I loved having Carrie chime in, by the way, and just saying that one of the bigger needs for communication in her group was for those young families. So hopefully Ashley would have some good suggestions to share there.
I think it's my turn to make the motion.
Okay.
I move to recommend that the select board appoint Christy Alexander to the Youth Commission for a 3-year term ending in 2028.
I think we reversed it. That was Ashley. I think the motions got flip-flopped.
Yeah, I think you mentioned Christy, Juliana, that Laura was talking about Ashley.
Oh,
I think the motions got mixed up.
Yeah. Oh, that's my fault. I apologize.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I didn't mean that.
No, thank you for correcting. Okay, so wait. Okay.
We're talking about Ashley, who's
yes, I know exactly. Okay. I move to recommend that the select board appoint Ashley Klebanow to the Youth Commission for a 1-year term ending in 2026 at their next scheduled meeting.
Second.
Roll call vote. How do you vote?
Aye. How do you vote?
I vote aye. And we will move her forward. And now we will talk about Christy.
Oh, you know what?
What?
Okay. Nope, that's fine. My brain is getting There's a lot of people that we've talked to today, Nancy, for a lot of
Yeah, no,
boards.
you guys are
I'm just
very good.
making
You're
sure.
good. Yeah, Christy's next, and that,
Rich,
yeah,
you-
I did switch those. I apologize. I don't know why my brain did that.
Oh, no,
On
no,
the
no.
motion.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So Christy was applying for the youth commission. Okay.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Mhm. And she was the last person for youth commission.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Almost an empty nester, I think she said.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, she brings a different perspective also. It's, with all of her background. I see
I
no,
agree.
no
What I
reason-
loved. Oh, do you
Yeah.
want me to just chime in on my? I've got my notes.
Mhm.
So she has a neat background. She has a lot of experience with psychology, which I think is important when you're working with kids. Also, she was an HR manager, so she probably does a really great job at communicating tough news in a gentle way. I found even today when she was communicating some challenging situations, she did it in a very compassionate way. She has experience with organization and advocacy. And what I especially appreciated is that she has lived with diverse medical needs and complex neurological needs. And she's really found ways to help thrive and help her kids grow. And I think that being able to help her expand that audience to a bigger group will be so beneficial to the town. And I mean, I don't know how many people we have that are really, that have experienced those types of backgrounds. And so hopefully it can help reach some of those other people that are in similar situations. So I really loved what she shared today, and that she was comfortable being so honest with it, because she's been through some tough times, navigating from other towns, finding resources for her kids. I think she's got a lot to really, to bring to the table. So
Yeah. So would you like to make the motion?
Oh, sure. I would be more than happy to. I move to recommend that the select board appoint Christy Alexander to the Youth Commission for a 3-year term ending in 2028 at their next scheduled meeting.
Second. Roll call vote. How do you vote?
I vote aye. How do you vote?
I vote aye, and we will move her application forward. And then James. That's it, right?
Yeah.
That's the last one, yeah.
James
Wow.
is also passionate about this committee and and his children.
Yeah, his sons are very lucky to have him. It's
Oh
very
my
impressive.
God.
Yes, especially his just his humane skill set about what he said about getting everybody to work together. That's I don't know that you can teach that to people. It's just seems like he's a special person.
I forgot to ask, did his son go meet with the priest?
I know the video was glitching a little bit, but it sounds like they did. Yeah, it sounds like they did meet with them. Yeah. I
was really inspired. He's served as a scout leader, soccer coach, baseball coach. And, I think as your children are finding out what it is that's going to, that they want to be. And I'm sure that the fact that he was so open about the path of helping his son get the support and love from the rest of the family and taking all of that education firsthand, I can't imagine a better person to help others that are, in need of other, I guess, I don't even know what the right word is, but just helping them navigate, those conversations and still continue to be very inclusive and loving and supportive. And I hope that we can, I hope our town's been supportive and inclusive of his son, but if there's things that we can do better, I hope that he'll be able to bring that to the table. And I like his desire to get people involved. And I love that at the heart of his message is celebrate. He wants to celebrate the town, celebrate its people. And he just seems like he's full of a lot of joy. And, it really came through in a lot of what he was sharing today. So I'm sorry for monopolizing the comments.
No, and you articulated, I think what I was thinking also, he has a lot of compassion also, a lot of heart there.
Yeah.
So then I will move to recommend that the select board appoint James Kane to the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion and Belonging Committee for a 3-year term ending in 2028 at their next scheduled meeting.
Second.
Roll call vote. How do you vote?
I vote aye. How do you vote?
I vote aye, and we will move James forward. Is there anything else, Angie? You'll bring minutes to us for the, at our next meeting?
Yep. Yeah, we'll have the minutes to go through our next meeting and hopefully some new applicants for some other boards.
Great, great.
Yeah.
This is so exciting to have
Really is.
people
Very impressive.
jumping in.
Can I make one more
if anybody
comment?
is listening, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Can I put one more comment in before we adjourn?
Please.
So I was talking, I'm the liaison for community affairs, and Susie was mentioning if there's people that, because I think that the requirement for cultural council is to term limits. So if there's anyone that's being impacted by term limits, if they'd like to consider applying for community affairs, they have a seat open, and they do a lot of the work that goes into cultural affairs can be replicated with community affairs. I don't think I'm getting the names right, but hopefully that makes sense. So I wanted to make sure that we mentioned that today. And then again, just to echo Julian, how lucky are we to have so many really wonderful people that want to serve. So thank you to everyone that expressed an interest, and I'm looking forward to, seeing them serve.
So, having said that, is there a motion to adjourn?
I would love to make that motion. I move to adjourn this remote meeting of the Select Board Interview Subcommittee.
I second. A roll call vote. Laura?
I vote aye. How do you vote?
And I vote aye. And that
Angie,
adjourns our
thank
meeting.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you,
much.
Angie.
so
Thanks,
much, Angie.
Julianne. Have a great night.
Have a good night.
You too.